Welcome to the documentary of the Sustainability Decathlon Tiny House Participation 2023. The Tiny House project was supervised by Professor Sunai Kim, Assistant Professor, Civil Engineering at College of Engineering. During the fall semester of 2022, 8 design teams, comprising engineers and architecture students, enthusiastically embraced the challenge of crafting an environmentally conscious and cost-effective housing solution for their senior research project. Subsequently, through popular vote by esteemed faculty and industry professionals, the design for the Roots House emerged as the victorious choice. Team Roots is a diverse, multidisciplinary assembly encompassing students specializing in architecture, regenerative studies, civil engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical and computer engineering, chemical engineering, computer science, and business. Our dynamic team includes over 70 dedicated students who have contributed to the project's progress, and more individuals are poised to join in this fall to bring the Roots House to life at the Orange County Sustainability Decathlon.
Hi, my name is Jean Talvin, and I am a professor of architecture at Cal Poly Pomona. And to explain a little bit about this project, I was introduced to it, I would say, summer of 2022. I was contacted by Dr. Sunai Kim, who is the engineering and project lead for the Orange County Sustainability Decathlon project. And she mentioned that she had been accepted as part of this Orange County Sustainability Decathlon. And I had always wanted to do the solar decathlon, and this was basically California's spinoff. And so I was really excited and agreed to be part of the project. So we basically started by, I taught my class in the fall of 2022, and a number of architecture students, about 25 of them, worked on the design of the house. And then in the spring, we basically started to develop the house and the site design more, also in our classes. And then in the summer and this last fall of 2023, we really spent time on getting the project built and really getting it to become a reality. In designing the project, there were many goals that we had. The first most important goal was to stay true to what was written in the application, which was the concept of having a multi-generational community that has houses designed around a garden. Okay, so that's where we kind of started our concept, and that ended up affecting our plans and our overall design. The other thing that we needed to consider was that the house needed to be mobile. So it was going to be built in a factory because we only had like 10 days to set up the house at the fairgrounds. And so we had to consider trying to make a building that could be transported down the highway. And we needed to make it as sustainable as possible and also as affordable as possible. So one of the things that was very important was just a very efficient design. And so our house went through many versions. So we had versions where we had more circulation, and then we tried to optimize the design. There were versions where we had plumbing on different sides of the project. So what we ended up with is a project with very minimal circulation, lots of open space, great connection between indoor and outdoor. We also really wanted to consider wheelchair and ADA accessibility, so that it could fit our story of the multi-generational community. And we also wanted to have the plumbing be very efficient, so all the wet areas are in the same area. And then again, going back to our story, the kitchen was basically connected to the community, and then we had a large opening towards the outside that was connected to the backyard, which is more of the private area for the families.
Hi, my name is Aspen. I'm a first-year transfer student at CPP. It was my first semester participating in the project, and I'm doing mechanical engineering. So for the Roots House, I picked out the furniture. I helped to get it sponsored, get it delivered, and decorate the house. I found all the furniture inside the house, including the living room, the bedroom, the bathroom, and the kitchen area. We got all the furniture from Warner Brothers property. it was quite a challenge to find all that furniture, as the prop house is ridiculously huge. Another challenge for the living room was is that it was quite small, and all the couches at WB were about 8 footers, so they wouldn't fit in the living room. So I had to improvise, and I had to go base my furniture and the style of the decorations of the white leather sofa in the center of the room. Um, and yeah, that was quite a challenge. One of the things that I loved seeing working on this project is seeing how it transforms from a concept to a reality. Because for the most part, nobody on the project knew if we're going to be able to accomplish everything we've set out to do, especially with the furniture. We were about 3 weeks away, and we still weren't sure where we're gonna get the furniture, how we're gonna sponsor it, if we're gonna have furniture at all. And so what happened is that I reached out to Exux at HBO and asked help with that. They ended up asking WB Property to see if we can borrow furniture from them for a couple of weeks, and they agreed. And that was wonderful, but that also meant that we only had about 2 weeks to pick out the furniture and then deliver it. That was very stressful. It was kind of like I was running around at WB Property trying to find all the pieces for the house. Was struggling to do that, and then after that had to go to classes, and had to manage that. But at the end of the day, we ended up accomplishing most of the things that we set out to do.
So we call our house the Roots House, and because of the concept of the multi-generational community around this garden, and the ideas of the family plant their roots there. To talk about the process of the project, well, we started with design, and then very quickly we made contact with a factory and picked a factory, because so much of the design is informed by what we were able to do in the factory and in the very limited amount of time that we had. And then we also reached out to sponsors, because we knew that we had a limited budget, and so we were reliant on sponsors to be able to help us out. So once we started talking to the factory, which was Amco Structures in Chino, we learned so many things, and we started to make some changes to our designs, and then we started construction, and that was probably the best part. So we were able to bring the students there, and we saw this house come together in the shortest amount of time, like 4 to 6 weeks worth of construction in the factory. It was amazing. We got to go there a lot, so we saw every step of the way, from framing to finishing to doors and windows to the finishing touches. And then a lot of the work was actually also finished on site. So for example, the wood flooring we had to do on site, just because they had to stitch the 2 modules together. So that's another thing I should mention. So we finished the construction at Amco Structures, and then there was a transportation company that shipped the modules to the fairgrounds. And then there was another company that stitched the 2 modules together and basically, cleaned up all the holes once everything was bolted together. And then we proceeded to do the last finishing touches, like the wood flooring. And then we also spent a lot of time doing the site design. So we brought in planters, trees, and really try to make it feel and encompass the concept of this community in our site design. So lessons learned on this project, there's so much. One is you need more time to complete a project. This was really, really fast. And so it was quite stressful, but we were able to somehow pull it all together in the end. But definitely it would be good, like if I had to do it again, I would try to use like twice as much time for the project overall. And then in terms of lessons learned, well, I'm pretty happy with our floor plan and our building design. I do think that the layout that we came up with is as optimized as it can be in terms of the floor plan. We even had it be beyond optimized because we kind of oversized spaces to make it ADA compliant, and very happy to do that because it gives us more flexibility, and it was useful during the fair that people could move around. So that's one of the lessons learned, is that we were happy about this process of optimizing the plan. And that came about through multiple meetings with different groups that helped to advise us on the design. And the tiny house market, well, I think, one thing that we learned is that ADUs are quite popular. We originally, had this idea of having this in a community, and that's the real concept behind the design. But in actuality, what's the most likely outcome of how this design would be used is as an ADU. Because of the recent legislation that's been passed by California, it makes it much easier for homeowners to put an extra building on their property and rent it out. And, and all that really comes down to the numbers. And so that was another thing that was learned during this process, is really trying to optimize the design to try to make it affordable. And these are some of the things we did. We started off with more corners in our design, and then we optimize it to kind of reduce that, to simplify everything, reduce the opening sizes, etc. And we also realized that we need to have flexibility and options, especially if we wanted to look to using this as an ADU. So maybe the front yard is where the good view is, or maybe the backyard is where the good view is, or maybe it's facing north, or maybe it's facing south. But our design luckily is able to adapt to all of those, and you can remove windows on the side if that's staring at your neighbor's kitchen, for example, and you can rotate the house and you change the position of the front door. So that was another thing that was important to us, to have that flexibility. And I think that was something that we should try to do if we were to ever do the project again.
So one of the things that I've learned, definitely time management. I'm pretty good with time management, but working on this project, it was like a full-time job on top of going to school full-time. So it was double amount of stress and things that I've had to juggle around. But it was a wonderful experience to get. I absolutely loved learning a lot more new things about sustainability and sustainable housing in general. I also loved participating in the competition because I saw so many amazing houses and so many great teams participating in this competition. And I absolutely love seeing how different teams approach their challenges in different ways. So like everybody had their own setbacks, everybody had their own challenges, but at the end of the day, we'll manage to get through and get things accomplished, which is quite amazing. One thing that the project installed with me would be like having more confidence in myself and my abilities to accomplish things. It was certainly a lot of responsibility to do the task that I was given, and I definitely felt the pressure because a lot of people were relying on me. But accomplishing all of the things definitely gave me a lot more confidence in myself.